How you doing, DFL? I'm so grateful to be with you all tonight. But this really is a very serious moment. In all the joy that I've experienced in the last few minutes, this is a serious moment. You know, I tell you, let's think about what we've been through in the last few years. George Floyd was killed 6 years ago this week. 2 weeks from now, we'll make it 1 year since our dear beloved Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark were killed in their home, and John and Yvette Hoffman were shot. Later that summer, we lost Harper and Fletcher in the shooting at Annunciation School. And then 5 months after that, we were all subject to Operation Metro Surge, the largest single deployment of immigration agents in the history of the United States of America. And in the course of that, the tragedies are almost impossible to count, but we must mention the precious lives of Renee Good, an artist, a mother, and Alex Preddy, one of our brave veterans, who was also an ASPE member. That's what we've been through. But Minnesotans have been fighting for liberty for a long time. Let me take you back to 1863, friends. 262 members of the 1st Minnesota Infantry Regiment made a fateful charge at the Battle of Gettysburg, fighting to overcome the slaveocracy. Only 47 of them came out without any injury. Everybody else was either killed or deeply injured. But their sacrifice helped destroy slavery and unite the Union. The following November, in his Gettysburg Address, Abraham Lincoln called for a new birth of freedom. And what he was talking about is a vision for a unified nation free of slavery with equal rights for all. Though our nation made great progress over the next 150 years, it's clear that today, in this moment of golden ballrooms and oligarchs and $75 filling up your gas tank, in moments like this, we need another new birth of freedom. And Minnesota can lead the charge just like our brave ancestors. I come to you today in a moment when so much of what we work for is under attack. You know it, you've seen it, and you've felt it. And yet I believe with all of my heart that we can inspire a new birth of freedom that starts in Minnesota but reaches far beyond our borders. After Alex Preddy was killed, I went to a makeshift memorial on East Street, Nicollet Avenue. Who knows where it is? That's right. It was a beautiful scene, and it was a mixture of quiet reflection and earnest conversation about where we go from here. And I talked to a young man there who was rightfully furious about the state of things. And he was telling me that he didn't even want to think about voting until we solved what he thought were the more pressing issues. And I said to him, and I say to you, I get the emotion. I understand the feeling. This is someone who lived their entire adult life in the Trump era. I can see how he might think voting might not be his highest priority. But remember, friends, not voting is not a protest, it's a surrender. Let's talk about where we are now. Let's talk about the last 40 years. Corporate domination has been escalating. Income inequality is higher today than at any time in American history. including the Gilded Age. The forces against abortion rights, voting rights, immigration policy, and civil rights have been gaining everywhere. Today, the full scope of their plan is finally in the open, and no one can deny they are fighting for nothing less than the corruption of our democracy, the extreme consolidation of wealth, and the death of the rule of law, and the return of Jim Crow. What issue animates you? What's your issue? Is it workers' rights? Maybe it's immigration rights. Maybe it's environmental justice, strong unions, abortion rights. Maybe it's ending these wars and stopping the genocide. And maybe it's making life affordable again. But there's not one of those issues that we in this room have been fighting for that is not imperiled by the political forces lined up against the people of the United States. An election got us into this mess, and winning an election is going to help us get out of it. And so we have to resolve ourselves to reaching out to every single voter in this state. You know, we're going to get out of this mess because America has seen what Trumpism is really all about. And guess what, friends? They hate it. The polls are in the toilet. Americans are spending $75 to fill a gas tank while Trump builds a gold-plated ballroom in Washington, D.C. Trump is panicking because his poll numbers are in the toilet, and that's why he's doing whatever he can to rig the election, tell lies, smear Minnesotans, because that's all he's got. And be ready for the Republicans to try to continue to weaponize fraud. They will use it as a wedge to divide us and turn us against our neighbors. But we won't let that happen. Instead, we're going to keep holding those fraudsters accountable, including them. Let me tell you, friends, I hate fraud. Fraudsters steal money from our neighbors who need to live and thrive. And I'm proud my office has won over 340 convictions for people who stole Medicaid money. We just passed a bipartisan bill to help give us more fraud-fighting resources. Honestly, I don't know if Republicans genuinely care about fraud at all, because if they did, how can they keep quiet when Trump has pardoned or commuted the sentences of fraudsters? People like Philip Asformes, this Floridian, he built Medicare out of $1.3 billion, but that didn't stop Trump from giving his commutation. Let the Republicans explain that. We'll stay focused on holding fraudsters accountable. And let me tell you, I'm looking forward to working with Amy Klobuchar and Ben Shire, who are dedicated just as I am, and will be wonderful partners in our next administration. But I want to be 100% clear. I don't want there to be any doubt when it comes to holding folks accountable for wrongdoing. We are holding these ICE agents accountable who terrorized and murdered our neighbors. My office and the Hennepin County Attorney's Office are working tirelessly every day to pursue justice, and you may have seen some things in the news just today. And that's another reason why these elections are so important. You can bet your last dollar that any Republican Attorney General would immediately drop the charges and stop the investigation. I filed over 62 lawsuits against Trump, and we've been on the winning side 90% of the time. We fought him on birthright citizenship. We beat him on the illegal tariffs that have harmed our precious farmers here in Minnesota. Hear it for our farmers, y'all. And we sued and beat him twice in court to keep SNAP dollars in Minnesota and food on people's tables. And we won back over $7 billion. That's right. We won and protected $7 billion for education, infrastructure, food assistance, and more than that he tried to take from our state. That's our money, and we want it back. You better believe it. Any Republican AG would have rolled over for Trump and let Minnesotans go hungry, lose their rights, and lose their health care. And you know they would roll over the next time the Trump administration tries to break our laws. And they would drop every single one of our nation-leading consumer protection cases and investigations that have helped the overcharging utility companies, the fraudulent lenders, the deceptive charities, the scammers, the monopolies, and we've held them account. You saw us, we went to court and we beat Ticketmaster and Live Nation. Those lawsuits have put $2.4 billion back into the pockets of Minnesotans, and I'm proud of that. Now, how do I know no Republicans would stand up? Because not one single Republican from any state has joined Democratic AGs in protecting your rights and defending your money against Trump. Not one. Any Republican running for Minnesota AG wants to serve as Trump's lawyer, but I'm here because I want to keep serving as the people's lawyer, your lawyer. Thank you for your endorsement. So friends, let me tell you, I recently joined a bunch of Minnesotans to celebrate the 61st anniversary of the march over the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Alabama. Y'all know where that is? That's the bridge that Martin Luther King and John Lewis walked over that led to the passage of the Voting Rights Act. The people of Selma who inspired the nation 6 decades ago, and they did it all colors, all cultures, and all faiths. When I told them that I was from Minnesota, they told me that they were inspired by you and the way we stood up to ICE during Operation Metro Surge. So let me tell you, friends, here's my vision. A Minnesota where everyone can afford their lives and live with dignity, safety, and respect. My new birth of freedom is freedom from a rigged economy run by the Epstein class who are stealing for our paychecks and buying off politicians. We need a freedom from a cruel politics that tries to turn neighbor against each other. We lift up all of our immigrant neighbors, and we will never let Trump degrade or dehumanize any of us. And we need freedom from a president who thinks he's a king. No kings. No kings. No kings. Can't use a king. My new birth of freedom is also freedom to have affordable health care and child care, freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water, freedom to afford the lives and to earn a living wage, freedom to join a union and bargain collectively, freedom to keep running our best in the nation elections, which no one does better than Steve Simon. Here for Steve Simon, y'all. Here's a good one. We need freedom for everyone to be our full selves without apology, especially our trans neighbors who are our people, and we stand with them. In short, we need liberty and justice for all. And all means? And all means? That's right. So does that sound like a vision you can get with? Minnesota, the DFL knows a thing about freedom. Look at our leaders. My brother Tim Walz led us with grace and humanity through some tough times, didn't he? And cemented Minnesota as a progressive beacon of change. My dear Julie Blaha, get it up for Julie Blaha, has been an invaluable partner watching our local finances. Tina Smith has carried our vision boldly in the U.S. Senate. And let me tell you a little secret, Peggy Flanagan will carry it just as proudly. But DFLers, Minnesotans, this is about you. You can inspire people across our state to beat back this corrupt regime. Do you know that our average midterm turnout is about 62%? Who's down to kicking it up to 80%. We have to do it in the name of the people who came before. We owe it to the precious memory of the people who didn't back down and who stood up strong. Minnesota can and will continue to inspire a new birth of freedom. Let's show them how to do it. Peace and love.